What's up? What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and we're back for another edition of MVP Games Live here on twitch.tv/MVP vids. But remember, you can always catch the show on YouTube, MVP Entertainment. I am joined, like I always am, by my other beautiful co-host, Soapy Muffin. Soapy, how you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. A little bit of a thunderstorm rolling through here, or had rolled through, as I look behind me at my window. Hopefully I do not lose power again like I did before we went live with MVP Sports Live. But we got a jam-packed show today talking about Trump, because Trump doing some Trumpy things.
Huge.
Last week doing huge things. We're going to talk about if an EU, or EO, executive order, EO, that he signed could affect gaming. We're going to take a look at Warner Brothers apparently not being for sale, some big Microsoft news, and then much, much more. Before we get into everything, though, a little bit of housekeeping. Eventually, these will be on podcast services. Thank you guys for your patience on that. Like I mentioned, if you're on Twitch, thank you for watching us live, but you can always catch the show on MVP Entertainment on our YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you can catch us live every weekday around 5:30 Central Time at twitch.tv/MVP. And pretty much I think that's it. Besides if my power goes out, then obviously the stream ends, and you know why. But Soapy, let's get into it. We got a rock jock jam of topics. I don't even know why I said it like that. It's just the first thing that rolled off my tongue. But from IGN, this is from Adam Bankhurst. Warner Brothers Interactive may not be currently up for sale. A new statement from the Warner Brothers CEO, Jason Kilar, could suggest that Warner Brothers Interactive gaming division is not going to be sold for now. In a letter, he mentioned that Warner Brothers Interactive remains a part of the studios and networks group. Furthermore, speaking to Deadline, he also stated that we have a very strong interactive team of about 2,000 software developers that tell interactive stories. The opportunity to go global with that is very, very, very big as well. So, Soapy, I'll just ask you what you think. Obviously, this is a good thing because we didn't want this studio to go to EA. But what are your thoughts? Is the not being sold for now just a for now? Or do you think that Warner Brothers Interactive is truly off the market?
I think it mainly depends on where we and obviously I don't always want to say everything's dependent on COVID, but I think that may be one of the reasons why it probably went up for sale. So I think if it's able to weather the storm of COVID, and obviously we had announced, I believe last week, that they were making a Suicide Squad game.
Yep.
Let's say that releases and it does really well, that may keep them alive for longer. Mm-hmm. So I think it's probably they were up for sale just because they probably, or I think it was, who actually owns them? Isn't it? I think I saw something about AT&T or something like that.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
AT&T looking to sell WB.
Yeah, it could have been AT&T was trying to cut costs because maybe they were struggling a little bit, which would be kind of weird for one of the biggest internet providers in, or at least the States, to be struggling that much. But I mean, it may have just been a cost-cutting measure, and they probably realized oh, if we do this, we're able to keep the studio. But I think it's actually off the market now, unless if a deal knocks their socks off so much. I don't think it's gonna be getting sold anytime soon.
And the article does go on to say, it says it's important to remember that this could change at any time, and this could be Kilar talking up the gaming division to make it look good to potential suitors, but it could also be taken as Warner Media valuing what its game division can bring to the company in the future. And that Suicide game is the big one that I think of, because not only did we talk about it, I am a big fan of Kind of Funny and what they do, and it was on their gaming show, that was their lead story. They were talking about it. They're excited about it. Other gamers across YouTube were excited when this news came out. And we're going to get more of this at DC Fandom in August. I think that's August 22nd. So in about a week or so, we're going to get more from this, which will just create more and more buzz about this game. Maybe it is Warner Brothers and AT&T going, hey, we might have something here. We may have this, like you've got this game. Correct me if I'm wrong. NetherRealm has done the Mortal Kombat games, right?
Yep, NetherRealm has always done Mortal Kombat.
So you've got NetherRealm 2 that's under this umbrella. You've got the Mortal Kombat franchise, which I don't know when they're going to come out with. I think 12 is the next one if they did a Mortal Kombat game. But for me, I want to believe that this is them truly taking the gaming division off the market, because I do not know if 2K would do it justice. I don't know if EA would do it justice. Microsoft, I don't even know where they're at, because we're ramping up for next gen, and they've got issues going on with their xCloud, not specifically their xCloud, but with a certain tech company that we're going to get into later in the show, that I just feel like I'm hoping that this is them truly taking it off the market, because like I said, Suicide Squad coming out, there are rumors of a Batman game eventually, which would be with this game company. And then alongside with new DC games, a Harry Potter RPG is also reportedly in the works from this gaming company. So they've got a lot to kind of work on, and that could mean, hey, maybe we keep it, because like you mentioned, maybe COVID is like this is like, is there? I'll ask you. I know that I think we're on the same side, that hoping this is for real, but is there any possibility that this could just be a ploy of like, hey, let's talk up the company, let's make it not available to try to drive up that price to get that deal that you were saying that might be able to rock their socks?
Yeah, so two things. One, before the show, I forgot to ask you, did you change the title?
I did not. I will do that right now. Thank you.
All right. And the second thing is, I don't want it to be that, but there's a very strong chance that it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mostly because if you're in a situation where you own the rights to one of and if not the biggest fighting game in the world, and arguably the most popular, like, you have so many IPs that, like, obviously, don't get me wrong, they're not, like, pushing out, like, Naughty Dog titles or anything of where, like, it's Last of Us and Uncharted.
But Mortal Kombat is huge.
Yeah. And, like, especially because, it's also the Arkham Knight games were really liked. I mean, obviously, I think the Arkham Knight game itself was kind of like a eh.
Yeah. I mean, the last one was kind of, but it was more story-wise of why it was to me at least.
Yeah, so, they have a lot of good IPs they can work with. Obviously, if the Harry Potter game is happening...
Dude, an RPG? An RPG Harry Potter game?
Yeah, I'm not playing it because I don't like Harry Potter. That's not because of...
You don't want to be a wizard, Harry.
No, I don't want to be a Harry wizard. But I don't like the series just because of J.K. Rowling, even though she doesn't help the situation, but... you're tapping into that market of people that like the Harry Potter fans, and they want to play Harry Potter games. Like, that's the only reason why I think the Harry Potter Lego games felt as good as it did. Because I'm not gonna lie, when I played it, obviously, once again, it may just be I'm not a fan of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Game wasn't that good.
And with the Harry Potter game, with it being, I think the selling point with that is it's an RPG. So it's like, hey, even if you're not like... you're kind of about Harry Potter, it's not you playing as Harry. It's, hey, you get to become a wizard. And for some people, that's better than playing as the character. You can make your own character. You can put yourself in that world. But hey, it's a different side of the IP tool and the IP scene that they can go to that's different than Batman.
Yeah. And I feel that's something that they may try to ramp up the value of that. Mm-hmm. And it's because of such of the IPs they have. So I hope it's not them just trying to drive up the price, but if it is, it's not a bad marketing strategy.
Yeah, and I mean, only time is truly going to tell on it. Obviously, we can't decide that for today, but I mean, I'm assuming we're in the same boat of that. We hope this is not. I hope it's not, because I want to see the big thing we talked about, and this was with Demon, one of our patrons, where he even said, where it's like, well, if they sell it, that means Rocksteady's game is probably canned, and I'm like, I don't want to see that. So I'm hoping they keep or are able to keep around their title so that they can go ahead and make this game, because I really want to play it. But Soapy, let's move on into a world that's more your world. It's not my world. I don't play Xbox, but the Microsoft Xbox landscape is more of your central scene. And today there was Xbox controller packaging that might have confirmed the Xbox Series S. And this is in a some pictures that were tweeted out on Twitter, and everyone is basically thinking the same thing. So there's 4 pictures. It says white robot. On the side of it, though, it says Xbox Series X, Line S, Xbox One, Windows 10, Android, iOS. Shows the controller and then basically the controller of itself. But everyone's freaking out because on the side it says Xbox Series X/S. How big is this if this means we are getting the Xbox Series S along with the Xbox Series X?
I think it mostly depends on if the rumors about the S, with like what type of system it would be. I think that is the primary thing that affects it, because with the rumors with the X and S, have you seen any of them? Like, obviously, besides that, it may be coming.
The thing that I saw is apparently it's supposed to be, it's a next gen like the X, but it's at a lower cost because some of the things like things that the X has, it's not going to have. So it's going to be like, oh, how do they explain it? Where it's not going to be a different experience, but it's not going to be as powerful of a system as the X. And it's for people who maybe don't have the money to buy an X, is how I've always had it described to me as.
Yeah, and if this shows that they're doing that, like, I don't want to, like, I take the stance of they will never outsell PlayStation, and it's just because PlayStation beats them in every other country besides America, and PlayStation even still beats them in America anyways. But I think this is going to be a big game changer, and I think the reason why is because now there's going to be an affordable console, because obviously, like, we haven't had a confirmed price for any of them, but I would not be surprised if these bad boys are about like $500. Yeah, with the Xbox Series X and the PS5.
I think the PS5 price that everyone's kind of assuming is $599. That's what I've seen. $599, like $499 on the low end. But everyone's thinking like between the $500 to $600 price range, which is kind of insane for a console. But I do have it here from the article from this is from Polygon. According to The Verge, both consoles will ship with the same speed CPU, but with less RAM and less GPU performance. And then they had an update to their article where they said, reached for comment. A Microsoft spokesperson said the company had nothing to announce at this time and noted there is a lot in store for Xbox in 2020. My thought is, of course you're going to reach for comment and they're not going to say anything. But if they didn't have plans for it, why would it be on this box? Why would Xbox Series S be on this box if you didn't plan on coming out with it?
Yeah, I think what they're probably doing with that is obviously we already kind of knew the S was coming.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically just like okay, like, is this just a different project like what the Xbox One X was? Of where, like, would this just be? I mean, and also they've always had an Xbox Slim. Every time they release an Xbox, besides like the original one, they're always like, "Oh, look at this! You don't have a fucking VCR sitting on your table. You have like a slightly smaller VCR."
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I felt it was one of those things that either it was a whole different console, which obviously I'm going to assume it is, or it was going to end up being just a different version of the Xbox Series X where it's just smaller.
Yeah.
But I think right now they just may not be ready to announce it. Because obviously I know consoles are coming out in like October, November, that range.
Holiday season. So yeah, but at Q4, end of Q4, for the holiday season, we should be, because think about all the PlayStation games: Godfall, holiday 2020, Pathfinder at the State of Play, holiday 2020. Like holiday, I'm thinking like November, December is when we're gonna get the Gen 5 game or Gen 5 systems for both PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah, so I feel I almost feel like it's probably gonna be like maybe not a last month thing, but like just before like they start getting ready to ship out Series X's, they'll probably be like, oh hey, basically I feel like Microsoft probably has something they want to do in between now and the release of the consoles. So I feel that's probably where they'd announce it. I mean, obviously, I know they don't have anything like on the radar of like that, but like for instance, they may have like a press conference or something like that they hold where they announce the Series S.
Well,
so I wouldn't
go ahead, finish your thought before I go on to the next one.
Yeah, I just think it's gonna be okay. Here we go, like press conference in let's say October. Like, obviously, I don't know if that'd be, like, really late to announce the second console. But, like, it could be beginning of October, officially announce the Series S is coming. And then, like, obviously, you want to push the X more than the S, mostly because the X is going to definitely be the more expensive one. So, like, you want to push the more expensive product. But then, obviously, you could be like, hey, you know, we understand the pandemic has hit everyone different. You know, some people are struggling. And obviously, you know, don't prioritize buying a console if you can't feed yourself.
Yeah. Feeding yourself is more important than a game. But the thing I want to bring up, and this was something that, so I can't find the article they use, so I'm going to quote them specifically. But kind of funny, when they did their show on July 29th. It was an article from International Business Times, Joseph Patrick, to where it was about an Xbox event coming in August. Does the Xbox or does Microsoft have planned an event this month that, yet again, if they do have it this month, pulling up my calendar, you got basically this week or next week to announce it, next week or the week after to have it. And my thought is, because we had that news, and I remember seeing that news before you and I started this show, as we started it on the 3rd of August, my thought process was, okay, are they planning on announcing an event? Maybe it's like a weekend thing where it's like, or like, hey, this Friday we're going to have this special live stream. Stay tuned for it. And are they going to plan that for this month? And at that point, they announce the Xbox Series S? Or am I just trying to link two things that might fit together, but it's like, there's coincidences between the two, but yet they're not linked together, or the Xbox Series S is not going to be announced at this August event if they have it?
Yeah. And I feel that's something that they're going to do if they do that. And it's because, obviously, like I said, you want to push the more expensive product because you're going to make more money off of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also, don't just drop the S out of nowhere, because then, congratulations, you've invested a lot of money in a console that it fails. So I think.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I was just gonna say. I think Microsoft knows what they're doing. I think they do have plans on announcing it. Or honestly, what the S may happen. What happened? What the? Okay, let me speak English here. What they may do is the S doesn't come out this year; it comes out next year.
Okay.
I think that's a probable outcome because obviously, I mean, it seems weird to release the cheaper console a year later.
Mm-hmm.
But for instance, like they may have it like, okay, they want to get like the $500, $600 console out of the way, and then next year they're like, okay, like, hey, you don't have to worry about saving up $500, $600. I mean, this isn't going to be cheap either, but like, here's this $300 console.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can play with your friends on next gen. Because that was one of the things that's always happens between, like, going between gen of console is, like, you have the people who basically take forever to swap.
Yeah.
And now, if there's going to be a cheaper alternative to still go to next gen, like, obviously, you are sacrificing performance.
Mm-hmm.
But even at that, like you said earlier, it's not super noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
So, hopefully, something like that happens, but we don't know. Well, I guess we got to wait to see with the Xbox Series S.
And we're just going to have to wait and see. And that's going to bring us over into the next Xbox story, or I should say Microsoft story. We're going to talk about this is from the Verge, Nick Statt, having the article that reads, Apple confirms cloud gaming services like xCloud and Stadia, or as Dave calls it, the Stadia, violate App Store guidelines. And this is the official statement from Apple. I'll just jump right to it. It says, the Apple Store was created to be a safe and trusted place for consumers to develop and download apps, and a great business opportunity for all developers. Before they go on our store, all apps are reviewed against the same set of guidelines that are intended to protect consumers or protect customers, and provide a fair and level playing field for developers. Our customers enjoy great apps and games from millions of developers, and gaming services can absolutely launch on the App Store as long as they follow the same set of guidelines applicable to all developers, including submitting games individually for review and appearing in charts and search. In addition to the App Store, developers can choose to reach all iPhone and iPad users over the web through Safari and other browsers on the App Store. Microsoft spokesperson, this is now their statement in regards to that. Microsoft says, our testing period for the Project xCloud preview app for iOS has expired. Unfortunately, we do not have a path to bring our vision of cloud gaming with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate to gamers on iOS via Apple App Store. Apple stands alone as the only general purpose platform to deny customers from cloud gaming and game subscription services like Xbox Game Pass. And it consistently treats gaming apps differently, applying more lenient rules to non-gaming apps, even when they include interactive content. All games available in the Xbox Game Pass catalog are rated for content by individual industry ratings bodies such as the ESRB and regional equivalents. We are committed to finding a path to bring cloud gaming with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate to the iOS platform. We believe that the consumer should be at the heart of the gaming experience, and gamers tell us they want to play, connect, and share anywhere, no matter where they are. We agree. Soapy, I'm just going to ask you right now, is there anyone at fault here? Who's at fault here? And if this doesn't come to iOS, how much of a hurt is this to Microsoft?
I don't think anyone's at fault with this one. I think it's mostly just, it's butting heads between stuff that's been there for a while. Because obviously, like you said, it kind of goes against iOS's system. And, obviously they're not going to bend the rules, because then other companies can be like, well, why did the rules get bent for them but not for us?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously a lot of companies need to realize they're not Microsoft. But, I understand why not. Obviously, like, I think there'd have to be a change in the rules at iOS, and I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon.
No, I don't think so
But,
either.
yeah, but I feel that's why. I also don't think it's going to be that big of a hurt on Microsoft. And it's mostly because then, for instance, like, they could now form more of a lucrative partnership with Android. Because obviously, they could say, like, oh, listen, this could be an Android exclusive thing. To where, obviously, you're going to get the people who still will argue iOS versus Android. And everyone will always make memes about how Android's cameras are bad, even though they're actually not. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna hurt them too bad. I mean, obviously, would they make as much money? No. But even at that, like, that's kind of how just exclusives work in general. Like, you could make more money if you released on both, but some people just don't, because there's probably benefits that we don't know about.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking right now at, this is from statcounter.com, global stats. According to them, between the last year, July of 2019 and July of 2020, out of the market share, so mobile operating system market share worldwide, 97.6% Android, 24.8% iOS, less than 1% for Samsung, Unknown, KaiOS, and Windows. So Android is still, out of user base, looks to be kind of king, only because, like, the way that I know Johnny has always said it, because he's been my only friend that is an Android user. Everyone else in my friend circle is iOS. So take this stat thing how you may want to, but he's just like, I can connect it to anything, and I don't need to have iTunes. I can just take music from my Windows media player. Where with me, I'm not so worried about my music. I'm just the apps that I download from the stores where I get everything. There's a part of me that feels like eventually this will happen. Like you said, I think it's just butting heads. But I think Microsoft and Apple need to do whatever they're doing to make this work. I just feel like also Apple may not be willing to play ball right now because of, for example, we saw the Stadia release. We saw how the Stadia has been. It has not been anything to write home about. We've even had questions when we talked about the xCloud here on this show, where we hope it's good, but we don't necessarily know what that is going to be like, and if it's going to be and meet the expectations that we have for it. So, like, there's just a thought in my mind of, just like you said, this is two companies butting heads. Apple has the right to have any guidelines for their platform. And if Microsoft works in there that, hey, we want to get this on iOS and we're all for the gamer, I kind of have the mindset of like, well, then sooner or later you should just play ball. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, all right, these are the guidelines. We're going to have to abide by these guidelines, because otherwise your games aren't going to be put on iOS. And then you're basically, oh, if you're an Xbox user and have an iPhone, I'm sorry, you can't use GameCloud on your phone because we're not going to have it on iOS. That's just kind of like, if a company is going to buckle, do you think it's Apple or Microsoft?
I'm trying to think which one has more money than the other. It's basically, I don't want to use too much profanity, even though I swear the most out of both of us, but this is basically a dick measuring contest at this point.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it's going to kind of be. I think whichever one can bring more money to the table in this situation is going to be the one that kind of gets leverage over the other. Like, obviously, I think it's iOS, I think, would probably pursue them more, because what, are they going to align themselves with Sony? Because then that requires Sony to want to do something like that, and Sony has been extremely notorious to not want to do shit like this.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Apple playing sides. I just think this is, on Apple's side, I just think this is them saying, hey, here are our guidelines. This is how we run our store. Because when I was reading off their statement, I was getting like they're for fairness, and they're not going to treat the big guys differently than the little guys. Where as for Microsoft, it was like a fine. Well, then I guess we're not gonna play that way. And the only way I see Apple buckling is if xCloud comes out and blows everything out of the water. If xCloud comes out and it's like the next big thing and it works without a hitch, and it drives people to Android phones and Android just so they can play their Xbox games on their phone, that is what's going to make Apple buckle. Otherwise, Apple will sit there like if it comes out, because I feel like it's coming out at the end of this week. It wasn't at the 15th. No, that was September.
Yeah.
So a month from basically the end of this week is when we get it. If it comes out like a little wet fart, like, Apple's going to go, okay, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. So, I mean...
Yeah, we dodged a bullet on that one.
Yeah, we dodged a bullet. I think that this is, yet again, two sides have their thoughts. Apple might not think this is the next big thing and isn't going to buckle to basically treat a big guy differently than a little guy. Because like they said in their statement, all developers are created equal. But this is another Microsoft story of, we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Is this something that is going to gain traction? And can xCloud basically make Apple change their thoughts on things? But let's get into the main topic. The main topic I had teased from Friday, that I didn't want to make this the cover story because obviously we had the Microsoft and the WB news that I thought preceded this. But basically, from last week, Trump signed an executive order that looked to ban U.S. transactions with TikTok and WeChat's parent company. And the original IGN article said that it could affect gaming. From their original article, as reported by CNN, the order for TikTok's parent company states that after 45 days, any transaction by any person or with respects to any property subject to the jurisdiction of the United States by ByteDance Ltd. would be prohibited. Many were thinking like Tencent could be basically under fire from that, or could be affected by this. Riot Games because of League of Legends. It also has major stakes in Fortnite as well with Epic Games. So could Tencent be affected? There was a tweet from Friday that said video game companies owned by Tencent will not be affected. This is from Sam Dean and updated to this article. White House official confirmed to the LA Times that the EO only blocks transactions related to WeChat. So Riot Games, Epic Games, et al. Are safe, pending updates. The thing I want to ask you, Soapy, and I only ask this because of this is how the Trump presidency works. If everything is fine for right now on the gaming front, are they going to stay that way with this? Or could we expect something else to happen and then the gaming industry is rocked because of basically, I don't like, not politically, but basically relations between us and China messing that up, messing the gaming relationship up?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that for right now, obviously just hearing the ByteDance thing, it's because, you know, everything with when they're like, oh, TikTok bad, bad Chinese spying.
Yeah.
But then they just also, I feel it's also kind of just a power move to try to get an American company to buy TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like, cool, American spying. That's good spying.
To me, it's funny that like this is where we're at, where it's like TikTok is them spying on us when I am totally bring Vine back. Vine better than TikTok. That's where I'm at, and that's where I'll always be at. But I kind of have a feeling that something is going to happen at some point, that the gaming industry is not far, because like the reason why I say we're not far behind is the fact that gaming is always brought into politics, whether it's the when the school shootings happen. Oh, games like GTA and Call of Duty and violent games are the reason for that. Whenever there's like basically what I'm saying is video games are always the first ones that are to blame. The gaming culture is always attacked. That's why I feel like we're always on our heels, and we're ready to attack each other and attack other things, to where, yes, it starts with TikTok and WeChat, but where does it stop? And just because Tencent and everything is safe right now, what stops basically our country from having that stance moving forward? Because today it's TikTok. Next, it could be, oh, they're trying to spy on us via Fortnite based on all the concerts and everything that we now see going through TikTok. So, like, I don't know. Am I crazy for thinking that like, yeah, gaming is safe for now, but it could be under attack politically in the future?
Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that something like that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to say that, but it's seeing that, and I hate doing the whole thing of like just blaming old people for everything. They don't understand it. And like they're going to see, like, we have this weird thing ingrained in, like, or at least older people do.
Mm-hmm.
They have this thing ingrained in their head of where it's like, oh, the American government's never done anything wrong. Like, this stuff doesn't happen here, and we hear about it from other countries, and it's like, oh shit, dude, here we go. Look at that big old bad China spying on us. But when it's been proven multiple times that we spy on ourselves more than we spy on anybody.
Yeah.
Or anybody spies on us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, people need to understand. Sorry, I'll let you speak in a second.
Yeah.
It's
I was
just something
gonna make
that,
a joke.
Yeah, it's, people need to understand, just because something has a connection to a foreign country does not mean they're spying on you through it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I really want people to know, because, like, if you're just going to attack video games and say, oh, this is the way China's been spying on us, congratulations. We know 100% Facebook, an American-owned company, spies on us. Amazon spies on you. Target spies on you. Target did creepy spying. I don't know if you ever saw that story that came out about Target, of where they would track your orders and stuff like that.
You don't think this thing that I'm holding my hand, I'm holding my phone, by the way, I don't know if you can see that, Soapy.
Yeah, I know.
You don't think this thing that I'm holding in my hand doesn't spy on me every day with this microphone in it?
Yeah.
Because, like, there are times where, and this does happen, where I will have my phone on my desk next to me, like I do now. I will be talking on Discord with somebody and mention something, and then I will be on Facebook and get an ad for that. And it was like, wait, did it know that, like, because I brought it up, did it know? Like, we're spying on ourselves too. How many times did we throw the joke out there of like, yeah, man, I feel sorry for the guy that's got to go through all those Snapchats of all those dick pics that people are sending one another when he's monitoring your snaps. Where spying's going around everywhere. It's not just one country that's doing it.
Yeah. I may as well ask you, did you see the story that happened with Target?
And I did
why,
not.
Alright, so, slightly uncomfortable thing if you don't feel comfortable talking about tampons and, stuff associated with periods.
I'm open game. Hit me with it.
I mean, I was supposed to just saying that for everybody.
Oh, okay.
But, for instance, what what Target would do is they do this specifically with women. They would track when you would buy tampons. They'd wait 2 weeks, and then they'd message you either on like your email or anything you associated, saying, "Hey, it seems like it's basically your time of the month again."
Trying to get on that cycle, trying to get that eternal clock going. Hey, ladies, here's your reminder if you haven't gotten one already.
Yeah, and when that happened, it was like that should have been the warning sign of like anything China does, nowhere near as fucking creepy as Target.
Yeah.
So, that's why me and my homies hate Target.
But basically, that's a lot of these stories are like, well, that's where we leave that one because we don't know. There's no conclusion to any of these. But let's get into some shorties. We've got an annual segment that we started on Friday that we're going to do whenever we've got some rock jock of topics. I don't know why rock jock is like the saying that I'm going to today. But we've got some topics that are real short, but we still want to show them the time of day. Some of these I'm going to kick just to Soapy. Some of them will be both of us. But the first one, this one blew me away today. And this is kind of interlocking the gaming world with the sports world, that apparently the deputy commissioner, MLB executive Tony Piatti, deputy commissioner of the MLB, is leaving his position with the MLB to become the president of sports and entertainment, where he will oversee the esports and consumer products and film and television divisions at Activision and Blizzard. And the chief CEO, the CEO of Blizzard, Bobby Kotick, had this to say: Tony is one of the most highly regarded executives in sports and entertainment. His success in media and as deputy commissioner and COO of the MLB is the perfect blend of skills to help us realize our aspirations for esports and our related businesses. Soapy, I just want to ask you, what does this mean not only for Blizzard, but for esports as a whole? And does this mean that maybe Tony could be the one to maybe help Blizzard, more so Overwatch League is what I'm thinking about? Could we be seeing more Overwatch League maybe on ESPN or I want to say TBS because they usually have the Counter-Strike stuff, but like I'm thinking ESPN. Could Tony be somebody at this position that gets esports more into the TV scene more so than we're seeing right now?
Yeah, I just want to specify this is a great thing for esports, and this is showing that people are realizing you can make money off this.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you're going to always have the people who argue if esports is an actual sport or not. And obviously, like, that's a different argument for a different day. But it's showing that, people at the start of esports, like when they're first getting big, of people saying, oh, well, you can't make money off this. Those people also blatantly ignored that Counter-Strike and League of Legends were basically making more money than some, like, basketball players do.
Yeah.
At their tournaments. Like, it's people need to understand this shit makes money. Esports is basically, I always use this term and stuff, or this turn of phrase, whenever anything is just really easy to make money, this shit prints money.
Yeah.
And it's because, like, you're tapping into such a good market because people love competitive sports. Like, people love competitiveness in general. People love competitive gaming. Like, that's why, for instance, if you notice, like, a lot of streamers and stuff like that, or just streamers that are really big on Twitch, they're doing something competitive. Like, obviously, I know speedrunning isn't the same thing, but, like, you're competitively trying to break a record. So, stuff like that, I think it's going to be really good for Blizzard. Personally, for me, I don't care for the Overwatch League, but, that's just me basically.
I mean, I'm just assuming that's what he's going to, like, obviously you've got Blizzard, the big esports stuff that they're doing is they've got Overwatch League. On the WoW side, they have their arena tournaments that they're kind of spitting out into kind of an esports thing. I don't like StarCraft, I think just in itself is made for esports. And I don't know Diablo if they've got any plans to like turn that esports. But like Overwatch is made for esports, StarCraft is, and then with World of Warcraft you have your arena competitions. I think I can't wait to see what he's going to be able to do. Because like I said, you usually don't see someone go from a sports commissioner job, even deputy commissioner, and then go over to a gaming company. So this kind of caught me back, but I can't wait to see what it means. Because even though we're focusing on Blizzard, you've even got Activision with this. So you've got Call of Duty and the Warzone that could totally be viable for e-games competition or esports competition is what I should say. So I wanted to give love to that. Soapy, I'm going to let you take this one over because this was in some of the headlines that you had put down below. I'm not a big Elder Scrolls guy, but apparently according to PC Gamer, a vampire army threatens the Elder Scrolls Online later this month. The expansion will include a pair of new dungeons, Stone Garden and Castlethorn, along with new quests and storylines, set items, and collectibles. Stonethorn focuses on a deprived vampire conspiracy that centers around Lady Thorn and the mad alchemist Arcasus, which sounds like a good time for everyone. So Soapy, I'm going to let you take this one, this Shorty But A Goodie, the new expansion for Elder Scrolls Online and their DLC.
Yeah, I feel this is something that obviously they've been doing stuff with vampires for a while, because I believe the newest one before this brought players back to Skyrim to basically deal with the vampires. And this is something that it's expanding on it. It's giving people more things to experience. Obviously, more content for a game is always good. I've never played Elder Scrolls Online, but I feel it was something worth bringing up because its popularity is kind of hovered around the same place. And, there may be a minute person who actually needs to hear that a new DLC is coming. So I think it's going to be good. Any more content for games is good. And I feel this is a solid thing.
The next shorty we've got is the Diablo world. So Diablo 4 has a team. Obviously, the Diablo 4 team is moving forward despite the COVID pandemic. Rob Ferguson's move to Blizzard was not, this is from PC Gamer, was not particularly well timed. He left the coalition in order to head up Diablo 4 in March, just ahead of COVID-19 outbreak that forced the entire company to start working from home. I had a full 8 days in office. I started on a Tuesday, and then the following Thursday, everyone was on work from home, Ferguson said during a GDC Q&A live stream. It's been really hard, actually, for me, because I think people who know me and have worked with me know that part of what I thrive on and do well, is being in the room with people and talking and trying to motivate and understand and collaborating and those sorts of things. The push kind of taking one of my sort of quote unquote superpowers and putting it behind a video screen, I found really hard. Really the thing with this, and I know he goes on into more, but the thing I want to push out with this is, I don't know if, like, my first thought is like, oh, should Diablo fans be worried? Because a lot of games we saw, like, for example, Shadowlands. I almost said Shadow Legends, like Raid Shadow Legends. But Shadowlands for WoW, we probably would have saw that by now. We would have been playing Shadowlands by now. Either July or August is when we would have been playing it. That has been pushed back. We've seen other games pushed back because of COVID. Movies, too, pushed back because of COVID. There's a part of me that thinks this is Blizzard has to do this because if they're going to have, we talked about them having BlizzCon in early Q1 of 2021. If they're going to do that, Diablo 4 is going to be on there. We've had a trailer, a cinematic one at least, for Diablo 4. So they're probably going to get it pushed to have at least gameplay for that BlizzCon so they could say coming later this year, Diablo 4. for you guys. However, is this moving forward going to rush the game, which could be a bad thing for Diablo 4?
I don't think it's a bad thing. Obviously, I will say I think my biggest worry with it is like how much quality work are people getting done from
At
their
home?
computer?
Mhm.
Because because obviously not everyone. I mean, they probably provided some of their staff with better computers
Yeah.
or something,
So that they could do
but
their
like
work.
yeah. But for instance, I mean, obviously working from home, unless if you're basically working by yourself, it's not like it's productive.
Mhm.
But if you're working in a group, which is basically what game developers do, I don't know how productive you can be.
Mhm.
Because, like, for instance, it's you wonder, like, I don't want to sound like I'm being a douche when I say, like,
Go ahead.
you know how like game developers work, right? Over like how like the different studios work together.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it could be like, let's say, like the animation department is waiting for the art department, but let's say like the art department, like one person's just working really slow. That's behind the whole thing. Now, obviously, in a studio building, that's easier to manage.
Mhm. I mean,
But like for instance, if someone's at home,
it's
like it
changed
could
how
be slow internet speed.
it's changed how we communicate with each other. And I know, like, internet speed you mentioned, that's probably the biggest hiccup that you have to get over, because, like, when he says the talking to people and putting my greatest superpower behind a screen, yes, I could see where that could be a little difficult. But, like, for example, I take us, where our shows, even like before we took our hiatus, were a little different. But I'll ask you, did, on the fast breaks before we took our hiatus, did Sean, Dave, or I lose chemistry when we were at home compared to in the studio?
I think there was a little bit of drop off, but like, and obviously it wasn't like an insane amount.
And that's what I'm
But
getting
like the
to. It's not an
fluidity a little bit
insane
dropped.
thing where, yes, it's different. It's going to feel different, but you can still get that done. The thing that comes into is internet speeds are different for everyone at home. People will probably live in different areas. And two, did the company did Blizzard and Activision provide their team with the computers to get their work done? Because those are the big things. But yeah, I feel like they need to move forward though with this, because we're probably getting Diablo 4 gameplay or something at BlizzCon, and they want to do BlizzCon early of 2021. But keeping with the BlizzCon here in Shorty But A Goodie, Hearthstone Scholomance Academy went live, and it has a free legendary card. So this is just kind of a little update where, like, if you're a Hearthstone player, they have the new Scholomance Academy. It is live. It's a new expansion for Hearthstone. And there is a free legendary card that players can unlock. It's now live. It adds 135 brand new cards to the pile, including 40 new dual class cards and a new spell burst keyword. So, new expansion. If you're into Hearthstone, that one's for you. But Soapy, the last thing in Shorty But A Goodie before we close out the show with our last topic is Street Fighter producer, and I hope I say your name right. I'm apologizing if I don't. Yoshinori Ono quits Capcom. And this one for me is kind of just like I know I don't know him personally, but this is the only thing I wanted to say on this is just a thank you. He's been with the company, 25 years?
Yeah.
And like they said, Street Fighter has been his main bread and butter. I remember playing like Street Fighter 2. I think it was Street Fighter 2 on the Super NES. And basically, I don't know how my gaming experience with fighting games would be if I never had the influence of Street Fighter and everything that Street Fighter has meant to the gaming community. Like, you can't say the word Hadouken without somebody knowing what Hadouken is. Or Sonic Boom, which Guile with his move. So My big thing with this is just a thank you for everything that you've done. And I hope that your retirement is a good one. If this is a retirement, it just says quits Capcom. And he resigned. So if this is just if this is a retirement type thing, I hope the rest of your life brings you happiness, the same happiness that you brought so many fans working on these games that we've loved.
Yeah, especially I also want to follow up with a sentiment of thank you, and it's mostly because it's just with the fact that he was bringing Street Fighter into a renaissance.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the thing of, like, Street Fighter had kind of gotten down on its luck for a while. Like, obviously, I'm not super huge into fighting games, so I didn't follow Street Fighter very often.
Yeah.
But a few podcasts and stuff like that I listened to, like, they had talked about how, like, Street Fighter just didn't feel the same. And then it was, with the newer games, people are like, they're kind of returning to form. So it's like, okay, cool. Street Fighter's experiencing a renaissance. And I think he was a major proponent of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that not a lot of people can bring a franchise that old basically back from the brink.
Yeah.
So it takes a special talent to be able to do that. And once again, like you said, I want to thank him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is the last thing he's doing. If it is, like Ricky said, I hope your retirement brings you basically infinite happiness. But if this isn't the last thing, I hope whatever next business venture or anything you go into is successful.
So I'm going to make a slight change to our kind of rundown here. Because we were going to talk about Call of Duty 2020 and the teases that it has. I want to push that to tomorrow because I have a feeling we're going to go longer than just a couple minutes on it. And that's something that basically I think could get into like conspiracy theory category. So we're going to talk COD teases. Basically, we thought we were going to get Call of Duty 2020 today. That was not the case. More teases came about that. We're going to push that to tomorrow. But then the last two things we have on the show. Soapy, this one is for you. And I put it on here so you can run with this. I also need to give you a pat on the back because you're basically Nostradamus and called this before any of us knew what was going on. So if you guys had not checked it out, I can't remember if it was our MVP Games Live where we broke down the state of play or if it was on our state of play reactions while we were watching it. I think it was on the Games Live. You brought up Alan Wake when we were watching the Awe expansion to Control. In an article from IGN today, Adam Bankhurst, Remedy Entertainment is working on a game set in the Control and Alan Wake connected universe. The article reads, Remedy Entertainment has confirmed it is working on a future game that will take place in the same universe as Control and Alan Wake. Remedy announced the news on alongside the newest trailer for Control's latest expansion, Awe, which features a crossover of these two properties in the form of the Federal Bureau of Control investigating what took place in 2010 in Alan Wake. It is the first official Remedy Connected Universe crossover event, but it will not be the last and is only a humble beginning. Remedy gave no further details on if the game will be a Control or Alan Wake game or something else entirely, and only teased that they will be connected in some form. What are your thoughts on this, Soapy? You already made that connection with the Awe expansion, but now what are your thoughts knowing that you're going to get a game between these two shared universes in the future?
All I need you to do is, Ricky, you see your phone?
Yes, I do.
I need you to pick it up because I fucking called it.
Oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. I fucking love that.
Yeah. See, I'm just saying, this is Big Brain Soapy. See, there's Detective Soapy, Dum Soapy, and now there's Big Brain.
I think you said at the time, you're like, no, this is Detective Soapy putting on his hat. So now I'm happy you're doing a callback to that.
Yeah, and I'm happy for it. Like I've said a million times, Alan Wake is one of those franchises that, like, obviously the games, there's only 2 of them, but like they're just super interesting. Also, plus they're based on novels as well. So
yeah,
and I've read the novels and I love them. So I can't wait for this. I think it's going to be something that brings more attention to the Alan Wake universe, and it's something that I hope gets people to check it out more, so we can get Alan Wake 2. Maybe in my fucking lifetime. Maybe.
Are you gonna call that one too? Is that one being called, or are you just pleading for it? Are you asking for it?
I'm pleading for it. I'm on my hands and knees begging.
Kind of like how some people want Patapon 4, but that wasn't announced either.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I just want, like I said, I called it, and if this is the one prediction I've ever gotten right, so my luck's turning around.
I'm happy for you though, and I love how you did the I need you to pick up your phone because I called it. You totally got me because I didn't know where you were going on that. But let's be honest, it's easy to get me with things like that. But yeah, I saw this and I was like, we need to at least mention it on the show or have you talked about it, because I remember you during the State of Play going, yeah, this is Alan Wake, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is more news of things to come from them. But the last thing we're talking about on today's show has to do with Amazon and Twitch, and it's a small thing, but I don't know what this means moving forward. So Amazon has renamed Twitch Prime to Prime Gaming, and here's the article from Polygon.com. After 4 years, Twitch Prime is no more. Instead, the premium version of Twitch membership has been renamed to Prime Gaming to better fit within the lineup of Amazon's other Prime services. Twitch Prime is part of many benefits Amazon Prime members get, including Prime Music, Prime Video, but because it has a completely different name, Twitch Prime didn't exactly fit into the company's standard benefits list and didn't have the same association those other products and subscriptions have. With the new Prime Gaming name, the service should fit just right into the list of Amazon Prime benefits. Other than the name, nothing else about the service is changing. Prime Gaming will offer the same free games and in-game exclusive items as Twitch Prime, and the free subscription to one Twitch channel a month. Please throw it to us. You can throw your free subscribe here, Prime Gaming, that many Prime members and streamers enjoyed. Prime Gaming members can visit the services page on Amazon to see all in-game the benefits that are currently available. So this one I didn't expect to go long, just kind of a short thing. Probably should have been in Shorty But A Goodie, but I wanted to end the show with it. Anything big from this, Soapy? Is this, obviously they said you're keeping everything, but is this kind of the question I think I'll ask is this the right thing for Amazon to do, to change it from Twitch Prime to Prime Gaming?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. Because the only reason I've never liked it being called Twitch Prime was, like, obviously, it was entirely based around Twitch, which is fine. But for instance, on Twitch's homepage, or just any time when you were on PC, like, they had like the little crown, and you could see the benefits for having Twitch Prime. Yeah. Now with Prime Gaming, it's like it kind of fits that more. Because like with Twitch Prime, you would think like, oh, it has everything to do with Twitch. Grand scheme of things, the only thing it does with Twitch is you have one sub. Yeah.
I mean, my only thought is like, now that it's Prime Gaming, like with Twitch, it's like there's more than just gaming on Twitch. Like, we're not gaming. We're talking about games, but we're technically not gaming right now. Plus, there's like the what category is it? Just chatting, where basically it's like you can either be in front of a computer or like what I like to watch. It's like, oh, this person's walking around China. I would love to see what that looks like right now. Or they're in a Japanese mall. I would love to see what that looks like because I'm not there. So like, Twitch is not just the gaming verse, and it's so much more than that. But this is it fits right along in with what Amazon wants to do. Prime Music, Prime Video, now Prime Gaming. And like you said, it does give more benefits to everything than just the gaming world. But that is going to do it for our jam-packed Games Live for Monday, August 10th. I want to thank you guys for watching along with us, whether you're watching on twitch.tv/MVP-vids or you're watching on YouTube at MVP Entertainment. Remember, if you're on YouTube, we do the show live Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Central Time. And if you're on Twitch and never miss a show, you can catch it MVP Entertainment on YouTube. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/MVPvids. We're going to have fan interaction starting very soon with some Q&A kind of things going on, and the Patreon questions live on the show. I almost said on the podcast because that's what I've been used to for so many years. And the only other thing I didn't say during housekeeping that I'll say now is that I will have an Avengers video. I didn't give my Avengers thoughts here because I'm going to have a separate Avengers video about all of my thoughts from the Avengers beta. So that will be going on the YouTube page. Stay tuned for that one. I got to finish up a few things on that before it's good to export and then good to basically go for YouTube. But that's going to do it for Games Live. I want to thank Soapy for being with me for another jam-packed show. We will be back tomorrow. Same cat time, same cat channel. But as always, have a good day, everybody.
Bye.